So to put on glass loop eyes, what you'll need is your scissors, a rigid needle or an owl, a long needle that is either flexible or rigid, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't need to be that thick, but it does need to fit all the way through the head and give you enough space that you can actually pull it out. This smaller one would work for this size bear, but I'd opt for the larger one. A little sanding block if you want to make your eyes not so shiny, make them a little more matte. And sometimes a needle nose pliers is helpful. So first you want to begin by marking the place for where your eyes are going to go in. When you're starting out, I would recommend using pins. I pretty much know where I want my eyes to be, so I can just go in after I've clipped away all of the fur around where the eyes are going to be. I put my rigid needle in, push it to the back of the head, and come out right near the seam right at the bottom of the neck. And now rotate that needle. And what that does is it opens up a small space in the weave of the fabric for me to be able to slip the eye into. So the eye has a little bit of a loop on the back, and that's just going to slip right in there. The one thing you want to be careful about is if you're making a smaller bear, the eyes are quite small, so you want to make sure that this hole doesn't get too large that your eye can slip through. I do that on both sides, push it all the way to the back. And the reason why I push it all the way to the back is that then when I'm rotating this needle, I'm making a space all the way through the head for my thread and needle to slip in, and it'll be a lot easier. Okay, so then you want to use carpet thread or waxed thread. I prefer a waxed heavy thread. This is upholstery thread. And generally the thread's a little bit too thick, and so what I do is I split it in two. It comes apart fairly easily. You can use carpet thread. Either one you're going to want to double over. So I'm going to thread my needle, make a knot at the end, clip fairly close to that knot. I'm going to take my eye, go through the loop in the needle, or the loop in the eye, and now open up a space in the thread between the two pieces and loop the needle through and slide the knot all the way down to the tip of the looped eye. Then I'm going to do that a second time just so that it's on there really well. That kind of creates a knot, and now your eye is sturdily on that thread. I'm going to go ahead and use a sanding block and lightly sand the surface of the eye. You want to make sure that your sanding block is fine to medium, but nothing too coarse. Now what you'll do is just run the needle through the hole, down to the back of the head, pop it in, and there's the placement of your eye. What you can do is you can just simply hold it here and make a loop knot and knot this. Go through, knot it like you would a normal loop knot. I like to make sure that my eyes are on a little bit better, and I want them to be really pulled in there tightly. So what I do is I go back into the head, I pull the eye out, go back into the head, back through the hole. I make sure that the thread isn't getting caught up inside the head. Pull it through, but I leave a small knot back here, or I'm sorry, a small loop back here rather. I run the needle through the loop of the eye. I go back through the head, trying to make sure that I'm pulling the threads down, and I'm trying to go in on the high side of the hole and come up on the high side of these threads, because I don't want the thread to get caught up on the inside, because what I'm going to do is pull it all through, and when I do that, if any of the threads have crisscrossed, it won't pull tight. So I'm going to go back through, pull this loop out. The whole thing will suck back into the eye, or back into the head. Loop it through twice. Pull the whole thing tight, and I use my thumb to push in the eye. And now it's in there really well. I can use my thumb, it's in there really tight. I go back into where that knot is, push the needle out anywhere in the work, pull it tight, and clip the end. And that's it. Now what you can do with your rigid needle, once both the eyes are on, is I go back sometimes and move some of the excelsior around to make sure that I'm happy with the way that the eyes are sitting in the head. That's it.